Now we have made an invitation to the Lord of our being to enter in to our awareness. Come by here, Lord, come by here. And that invitation is made not to the Lord, but as much to ourselves, to open our hearts and minds to the presence and power and activity that is always with us. And so our prayer this day is that we be just that, open, receptive, responsive to the activity of the Lord Christ within us. That we may know that ever with us is the activity of life and love and peace. Just quietly now, I invite you to open yourselves and feel that love flowing through you. That life that is moving and touching every cell and every nerve, every atom of your being. Experience the peace that comes with knowing you are never alone, that always with you is that presence and that power that brought you here to unfold, to experience life at its fullest. Feel that movement in your being now. And realize that you are charged with the energy of love, charged with the energy of life, of peace, of strength, of joy, of all good things. You are a divine being. You are in God and God is in you. And God has no beginning and no ending. And that God activity is ever blessing you, ever bringing new life and wholeness to your being, ever inspiring you with courage and wisdom. Ever blessing you with love. Relax now into that ever-present power and activity. And know with your whole being that you abide in God and God abides in you, through you, as you. In stillness now, experience that allness. And in this time of deep inner knowing, you will hear a voice. You will sense a feeling that will give you the message that ever is it so that I am with you. Ever am I there to give you life at its fullest, to allow you to experience and express all that you were created to be. Father, Mother, God, for the message that comes in quiet knowing, we do give thanks. And we go forth to be that which we were created to be, whole, strong, free, loving beings. And for the knowledge that this is the truth, we do give thanks. Amen.
Love that. To be free. Doug Hammarskjöld gave this definition. He said, it is to be able to stand up and leave everything behind without looking back. To say yes. Years ago, when I was about 12 years old, I guess, my grandfather passed, and I hadn't really had the experience of being around him too much, nor did I have a father, and we had moved, or close by, and we had moved to Washington State to be near my grandparents. We'd only been here about 6 months when he passed on. And I remember that many friends gathered. My grandparents had worked at a boys' ranch out in Bothell years ago, and we were there at the funeral. There were many loving, supporting, sympathetic people. There were cards and flowers and fruit baskets and kind visitors and words. And a man that he and his wife had been through the Holocaust and many different experiences that they had had, as I came to learn later in my life, they too came to the service. And I was standing out on the patio of this place where we were having a reception, and as he came out to talk to me, and as he did so, he said to me, "How are you doing?" And I remember saying to him, "I'm okay." And he looked me straight in the eye with a deep, seasoned balance of strength and understanding, and he asked, though it wasn't so much a question as it was maybe an answer for me. And he said, "Pushing on, huh?" And I'll not forget that, because those words were kind of a warm wave of strength and fortitude. Pushing on, huh? Occasionally, we hear someone talk about the wasted years of their lives, and even in this study of New Thought, where we have insights into truth, we can hear someone sincerely so say, "Only if I had known about this 30 years ago, how different things would have been." Do you ever feel that way yourself? Only if I knew then what I know now. And all the old, fine old folks, things that have come into our lives that enslaved human minds, and yet there's always something else going on. There's none greater than the myth of the good old days. The ancient Greeks were subject to it, ever looking back to the fabled Golden Age. A few years ago I went to the Holy Land and to Greece, and still today they're looking back more than they look forward. The Hebrews worshipped in the memory of Abraham, who was dead, and made life miserable for Moses, who was alive. And contemporary Christianity tends to look back to the time when Jesus walked the earth, a time, some say, when God was alive. During times of war or economic crisis, people talk about getting back to normal. But they don't take into consideration that the seeds of today's crisis were growing throughout the peaceful periods that preceded it. There's no getting back to normal. For what is normal? What is normal is for life to change and for people to grow. There's no going back. The good days are ever over the hill and straight ahead. Sometimes I reminisce and I play a little game maybe you've played it too, of what if, knowing that in my life, as in all others, that there have been times when things could have gone a different way. I pick a turning point where if another choice or another decision or preference had been made, or an alternate course of events or circumstances had occurred, or if the breaks, as we sometimes call those seeming chances of life, had just gone the right way, or at a certain time, my life might have been if. Do you ever do that? And since my adult involvement in Unity, I have also learned by retrospect that often what has seemed to be times of painful disappointment have turned out to be divine appointments, leading to that wonderful rendezvous with some unseen good. And somehow those speculations return to the past have increased my appreciation and trust of the divine element that shapes our ends. That we are here because we belong here. That this is where we need to be. Joel tells us of a most significant promise by God to man. He says, he has God say through him, I will restore unto you the years that the locusts have eaten. And that sounds like a kind of a harmless scrap of Oriental poetry, but on the analysis, it holds a secret and a promise that can really stir up a new interest in our lives. He refers to the